My wife cheated with her ex on our wedding day, thinking I'd never know. Now, she's alone at the altar as I walked out. I'm 32, male, and I thought I was about to marry the love of my life. We've been together for 3 years, and honestly, I thought everything was perfect. She was smart, funny, gorgeous, and for a long time, I truly believed she was the one. But what happened in the days leading up to our wedding showed me exactly who she really was. And trust me, it wasn't the person I thought I knew. About a week before the wedding, things started feeling off. At first, I thought it was just the stress of planning everything. Weddings are intense, right? But there were little things that made me uneasy. She started being secretive with her phone, stepping out of the room to take calls, and giving vague answers when I'd ask her who she was talking to. At first, I didn't think too much of it. I trusted her. We were about to get married, for crying out loud. But then one night, her phone buzzed while she was in the shower, and I noticed a message pop up. The contact name just said D. Something about it didn't sit right with me. I didn't open her phone. That's not my style. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was up. So later that night, I asked her, "Who's D?" I saw his name pop up earlier. She didn't even hesitate. "Oh, just an old friend. He's going through some stuff, so we've been talking. No big deal." She said it so casually, like it didn't matter. But there was something in her tone that made my gut twist. Still, I didn't push it. I wasn't going to be that guy, the paranoid fiancé who makes a big deal out of nothing. But after that, I started noticing more weird behavior. She'd go out late at night, saying she was meeting up with her maid of honor to go over wedding details, but wouldn't tell me much. She started taking longer to respond to my texts, and when I'd ask how things were going, she'd get defensive, saying I was stressing her out with all my questions. It wasn't until the day before our rehearsal dinner that things really clicked. She was out again last-minute wedding stuff, and I was at home trying to relax. One of my groomsmen called me, sounding weird. "Hey man, I didn't know if I should say anything, but I just saw him at a coffee shop." Okay. I didn't see what the big deal was. She was with some guy. I think it was her ex-man. I froze. "What do you mean, her ex?" "I don't know. I just thought it was weird." They were sitting real close, and it didn't look like they were talking about wedding plans, if you know what I mean. Now, I wasn't the kind of guy to jump to conclusions, but the fact that she'd been acting shady for weeks, and now this, I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. My fiancée was meeting her ex the night before our wedding rehearsal? It wasn't adding up. I didn't say anything to her that night. I needed to think to figure out what the hell was going on. But I had a sinking feeling that everything I thought I knew about our relationship was about to implode. The next morning, I was still reeling. We were supposed to be getting ready for our big day, and here I was feeling like something was seriously wrong. I showed up at the venue early, hoping to clear my head before the rehearsal. That's when I saw her, standing in the corner, talking to someone. I didn't even need to get close to recognize him. It was her ex. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. She was smiling, laughing, and they were standing way too close for comfort. I wasn't sure what was going on, but I knew right then and there that I couldn't just ignore this. I walked up to them, trying to keep my cool, and said, "What's going on here?" Her face turned white. She tried to laugh it off. "Oh, hey, you remember D, right? We're just catching up." "Catching up?" I repeated, my voice tight. "We're getting married tomorrow, and you're catching up with your ex? Are you serious right now?" D had the nerve to stand there like nothing was wrong, his hands shoved in his pockets, smirking. I wanted to punch him right then, but I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction of seeing me lose it. Instead, I turned to her. "Tell me the truth. What the hell is going on?" She started stammering, trying to explain. "It's not like that. He's just going through some stuff, and I wanted to be there for him. We've been friends for a long time. It's nothing, I swear." But I could see through her lies. She wasn't just meeting up with him for some innocent chat. There was something deeper going on, and I wasn't going to stand there like an idiot while she played me. I walked away without saying another word, leaving them both standing there. I needed to get my head straight before I made any rash decisions. But deep down, I knew what I had to do. There was no way in hell I was going to marry someone who still had feelings for their ex, who had been lying to me for God knows how long. The next morning, the day of our wedding, I woke up with a strange sense of calm. I knew what I needed to do, but it didn't make it any easier. I went to the venue, got dressed, and prepared for the inevitable. The ceremony started, and everything seemed perfect, at least on the surface. But I knew better. I stood at the altar, waiting for her to walk down the aisle, my heart pounding, but not out of excitement, out of pure rage. The music played, and there she was looking like she had no idea what was coming. She reached the altar, and as the officiate began the ceremony, I stopped him. "I'm sorry," I said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "but I can't do this." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Her eyes widened in shock, and she whispered, "What are you doing?" I ignored her and turned to the guests. "I need to be honest with everyone here. Something's been going on that most of you don't know about. I found out yesterday that Emma's been meeting up with her ex. She's been lying to me, sneaking around behind my back, and I'm not going to stand here and marry someone who clearly doesn't respect me." Gasps filled the room. Her family looked horrified. My friends were in shock, and she just stood there, tears welling up in her eyes. But I wasn't done. "I deserve better than this," I said, turning back to her. "You invited him to our wedding. You lied to me over and over again. I'm not going to let you make a fool out of me." That's when the real entitlement kicked in. She grabbed my arm, crying, and said, "Please don't do this. You're embarrassing me. Think about what you're doing to me. Everyone's going to think I'm some kind of monster. You can't just leave me like this." Her tears didn't move me. I'd seen her true colors, and I wasn't about to back down. I pulled my arm away and said, "You did this to yourself." But she wasn't done. She switched tactics, her voice lowering as she whispered, "If you leave, I'll tell everyone you've been impossible to deal with. I'll say the wedding stress made you snap. No one will believe you." I stared at her, feeling disgusted. Even now, after everything, she was trying to manipulate me, try to control the situation so she wouldn't look like the bad guy. But I wasn't about to let her get away with it. "Go ahead," I said, my voice cold. "Tell them whatever you want. I don't care anymore." I turned and walked away, leaving her standing there, sobbing in front of all our friends and family. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I knew I'd made the right decision. After that, things got messy. She tried to spin the story, telling people I'd overreacted, that I was paranoid and couldn't handle the stress of the wedding. But the truth came out. People saw her for what she was, a liar and a manipulator. Her ex didn't stick around long after the wedding fell apart, and from what I heard, she ended up burning a lot of bridges with her lies. As for me, I walked away, hurt but relieved. I dodged a bullet, and I knew it. If she could lie to me that easily, if she could try to manipulate me and turn things around on me like that, she wasn't the person I thought she was. And I wasn't about to spend my life with someone like that. So yeah, I left her at the altar, and I don't regret it for a second. Moral of the story? If something feels off, trust your gut. And if someone tries to manipulate you or make you feel like you're in the wrong for setting boundaries, walk away. You deserve better. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them. So please leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more stories like this one.